All right, how's it going? My name's Subliminal. It's my first Twitch stream. Figured since Diablo 4 is coming out tomorrow, I'd go over some lore, and I'll be streaming for who knows how long until I get bored of Diablo 4, which is gonna be a long time. I've been stoked. I've been waiting for Diablo 4 for a long time. Yeah, I played Diablo 2. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Diablo 3 came out. I remember I was super excited, but it was just a huge letdown to me. It wasn't the same as Diablo 2 whatsoever. But I played both the betas of Diablo 4, and it looks really promising. It looks like a good mixture between 2 and 3. So hopefully it stays strong and they have some good in-game stuff to keep people hooked. So yeah, I figured I'd jump into some lore because it's not talked about a lot. There's some YouTube videos out there that kind of skim through it, but I figured I would kind of dive a little deeper into it. So we'll just get started here. So in the creation of Diablo realm or world or lore as we know it, the first being was named Anu, who was the sum of all things good, evil, light and dark. And so Anu wished to be freed from this evil within him, and he expelled the darkness, and in doing so created Tathamet, the seven-headed dragon. So Tathamet was the prime evil, and Tathamet and Anu fought against each other for eons until finally their mutual destruction. And their remains caused the universe as we know it. The high heavens, burning hells, and pandemonium. The seven heads of Tathamet gave birth to seven great evils. These are the new prime evils, and the three of them are Diablo, the Lord of Terror, Mephisto, Lord of Hatred, who is also the father of Lucian and the father of Lilith. And then the last prime evil is Baal, Lord of Destruction. And with those three prime evils, there was four lesser evils, which is Belial, the Lord of Lies, Duriel, Lord of Pain, Andariel, the Maiden of Anguish, and Asmodan, the Lord of Sin. And on the opposite side of the destruction of Anu, birthed the archangels. They're the leaders of heaven, the high heavens, and the founders of the Angiris Council. And the first of which is Imperius, who is the Archangel of Valor. And we have Tyrael, the Archangel of Justice, Inarius, the Archangel Advisor who served under Tyrael and who is also the creator of Sanctuary, Ariel, the Archangel of Hope, Ethereal, the Archangel of Fate, and last but not least, Malthael, the Archangel of Wisdom, who will soon be called the Angel of Death. Now, also with Anu's destruction, a part of his remains was called the Eye of Anu, which was deemed also as the World Stone, which came to rest in the plane of Pandemonium, which caused the eternal conflict between heaven and hell to control its infinite power. And that power is the ability to create or destroy worlds. Now, this endless cycle of eternal conflict against heaven and hells caused Inarius and Lilith to meet and forge an alliance to abandon their cause and to escape the endless war. And they managed to gain control of the World Stone, and they used its power to create a new world, which they called Sanctuary, which is the setting for Diablo 1, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, as well as Diablo 4. So the joining of angels and demons in this sanctuary, they started creating and birthing new beings between them called Nephilim, which from which humanity descended from. Now the angels and demons came to fear the Nephilim due to their extraordinary powers, and they worried that the Nephilim would become more powerful than the angels and demons themselves. And so they were conflicted, and they had a discussion on whether or not they should exterminate the Nephilim. And Inarius, siding with the extinction for fear that the Nephilim would become more powerful than him, and Lilith wanting to raise them as an army against heaven and hell. And from Lilith, hearing about this talk and the talk about extermination of her children, she became angry and hostile and decided to murder all of the renegade demons and angels that resided on Sanctuary. And Inarius finds out that this happened, and he imprisons Lilith from Sanctuary. And as time went on, eventually the prime evils discovered that Sanctuary existed, and they started meddling with the affairs of Sanctuary. And with all of the angels and demons exterminated and just Sanctuary left with a Nephilim, the prime evils decided to create their own religion in order to entice the Nephilim to join their cause. And in doing so, the prime evils created a religion called the Triune. And ultimately, Inarius found out about this and decided to create his own religion called the Cathedral of Light. And he did this to combat the three prime evils with their religion. And as all of this is happening, Lilith is able to break free from her imprisonment and plots to take control over the World Stone. And as well, at this time, Tyrael, the Archangel, also discovers that Sanctuary exists, and a battle between hell, heaven, and the Nephilim erupts. And finally, after centuries of fighting, there's a deal that's made between Mephisto, one of the prime evils, and the Angiris Council, that they would leave Sanctuary alone and not intervene with the Nephilim. And in this deal, Mephisto gains custody of Inarius, and he takes him to the burning hells for imprisonment. And at this time, a reset of Sanctuary takes place. Now, after some time, centuries, probably multiple centuries pass, but the four lesser evils, Belial, Asmodan, the other two, decide to plot and exile the three prime evils to Sanctuary in order to do their bidding on Sanctuary in private, even going against the deal that was made. And Tyrael learns of the exiled, and he creates an order of magi called the Herodrim, who's a collection of the most powerful human magi on Sanctuary. And he gives them soul stones to imprison the demons in. Baal's soul stone was imprisoned inside a tomb by the magi called Tal Rasha, who eventually lodges the stone into his chest and binds himself to a pillar locked away inside of his tomb. And at this time, the magi learn that if a stone is embedded into a body, it helps contain the evil spirits within. Mephisto's soul stone was sealed inside of a tomb in the Kuras jungle and guarded by Zakharum monks, who eventually became corrupt just by the soul stone's presence. And finally, Diablo's soul stone was taken to a tomb underneath a cathedral in Honduras, which was later to be known as Tristram. And this is where Diablo 1 begins. Diablo 1 sets in Honduras as in Tristram, where a conquering hero named Leoric establishes himself as the new king in Westmarch, and he claims Tristram as his capital and the abandoned cathedral where Diablo's soulstone was hidden away as his throne. Now, Leoric's advisor, named Lazarus, is slowly consumed by Diablo's soulstone, by the presence of it. And in searching underneath the cathedral of an infinite labyrinth to Diablo's soulstone, finally retrieves it and shatters it, freeing Diablo's trapped spirit. And also at this time, the king's son, named Albrecht, also finds himself inside this labyrinth. And Diablo is able to manifest himself inside the king's son. And now Albrecht is lost inside this labyrinth for days, weeks, maybe. And King Leoric becomes deranged and mad from his missing son, and as well as the corruption of Diablo's presence. And evil demons start spewing up underneath the cathedral, and rumors are talked about. And finally, a hero travels to Tristram, and hearing these rumors of the corrupting evil and riches, and meets with Deckard Cain, who is a descendant of the Herodrim, who is there at Tristram to to learn of the evils that are taking place there. And eventually, this hero travels through this infinite labyrinth and vanquishes the demons, vanquishes Lazarus, corrupted evil, and also vanquishes Diablo. And in doing so, Diablo is captured inside the Soul Stone once again, and this hero embeds the Soul Stone into their head to attempt to contain Diablo. The Soul Stone burns with hellfire as an eerie red glow blurs your vision. Fresh blood flows into your eyes, and you begin to hear the tormented whispers of the damned. You have done what you knew must be done. The essence of Diablo is contained, for now. You pray that you have become strong enough to contain the demon and keep him at bay. Although you have been fortified by your quest, you can still feel him, clawing his way up from the darkest recesses of your soul. Fighting to retain control, your thoughts turn toward the ancient, mystic lands of the Far East. Perhaps there, beyond the desolate wastes, you will find an answer, or perhaps salvation. Now this is where Diablo 1 ends and Diablo 2 begins. Now with this hero with Diablo's Soul Stone embedded in his skull, the Soul Stone slowly corrupts the hero, and they become the Dark Wanderer in search of Baal's Soul Stone to the east. The Dark Wanderer travels to the rogue monastery and tasks the lesser evil Andariel to guard the pass from anyone who might follow him. And at this point, new heroes arrive in Tristram for glory and riches, and they find Deckard Cain locked up in a cage and Tristram overrun with demons. The heroes vanquish the demons and save Cain, and Cain guides the heroes towards the monastery in hopes that they might catch this Dark Wanderer before Diablo is let loose. And at this time, the Dark Wanderer heads to Lut Golin in search for Baal's Soul Stone, and he can feel its presence. At this point, Tyrael the Archangel learns of the Dark Wanderer's presence, or his escape, and is waiting in Talrash's tomb to stop the Dark Wanderer from freeing Baal's Soul Stone. And a battle between Tyrael and the Dark Wanderer takes place. And the Dark Wanderer's companion named Marius is tricked into pulling the Soul Stone from Talrash's chest and releasing Baal. and Tyrael instructs Marius to flee to Kurast and destroy the Soul Stone in the Hellforge. Meanwhile, Tyrael is overtaken by the Dark Wanderer and possessed Tal Rasha, who is now possessed by Baal. And they trap Tyrael inside the tomb and summon one of the lesser evils named Duriel to prevent him from escape. And at this point, the heroes reach Lutgaline and find Tal Rasha's tomb. And are able to defeat Duriel. And after this, the heroes meet Tyrael inside Tal Rasha's tomb and free him. And Tyrael tasks the heroes with stopping Diablo from freeing Mephisto from his Soul Stone in Kurast. And at this point, the Dark Wanderer arrives in Kurast with possessed Tal Rasha and frees Mephisto from his Soul Stone. And Diablo is able to take on his true form, and the three open up a portal to Hell. Diablo is tasked with reclaiming Hell from the other two lesser evils, Asmodan and Belial. Marius, with fear to his bone, disobeys Tyrael's command to destroy the Soul Stone and retreats to an insane asylum with Baal's Soul Stone to hide in fear. And Mephisto stays behind to stop the heroes from pursuing them, the other prime evils. The heroes find Mephisto and defeat him, and the Soul Stone is taken by the heroes with Mephisto's trapped soul. The heroes follow Diablo through the Hell Portal and locate the Hellforge and destroy Mephisto's Soul Stone. The heroes move on forward into the Chaos Sanctuary to defeat Diablo. They reach him, summon him, and finally destroy him, capturing him in the Soul Stone. And destroying it on the Hellforge. With Diablo defeated, Baal seeks out Marius and tricks Marius and takes the Soul Stone from him, and he kills Marius in the meantime. Now Baal, with his Soul Stone, travels to Mount Arreat to take control of the World Stone and launches an assault on the barbarians to overtake the mountain. But closely on his heels, the heroes fight their way forward in Baal's tracks. And they reach the Soul Stone Keep and finally defeat Baal, but not before the World Stone is tainted by Baal's touch. And with Tyrael's sacrifice, he decides, in order to kill the corruption that's tainted the World Stone, Tyrael plunges his sword inside the World Stone, destroying it and shattering it into pieces. And this is when Diablo 3 takes place, 20 years after this event. Now, evil has been destroyed for 20 years, and the town of Tristram has been starting to repopulate and come back together. And there's a notice of a falling star that hits close by to Tristram. And new heroes arrive to Tristram to investigate this falling star and locate Leia's uncle, Deckard Cain, who's been missing. And these heroes search out Deckard Cain and search out this falling star. And they're able to find him. And at the location of the falling star, it's revealed that this falling star is actually a human and has a missing broken sword. Eventually, Cain and this fallen human are captured by a witch named Magda. And with Cain's dying breath, uses his final power to restore the sword. And once the fallen human is rescued by these heroes and the sword repaired and returned to him, the man regains his memories as the Archangel Tyrael, now fallen from the high heavens with his title stripped. And Tyrael reveals to the heroes that he's cast aside his divinity to become mortal in order to warn Sanctuary and the Nephilim about the arrival of the lesser demons, Belial and Azmodan. The heroes find out more information at a city called Chaldeum, which they soon find that their leader has been taken control and possessed by the demon Belial. And the only key to stopping him and the other lords of hell is to imprison their souls within a black soul stone. And in order to get this black soul stone, they must resurrect a mad Horadric mage named Zoltan Kulle. Zoltan Kulle is able to create this black soul stone and is eventually overtaken by its powers and killed by the heroes. The heroes return to Chaldeum, and Belial is defeated, with his soul to be the first one trapped inside this black soul stone. And Leia meets with these heroes in Chaldeum's library to research more and find out more answers about this black stone. And at this point, she receives a vision from Azmodan that he's sending an army to take back the black soul stone for himself. The heroes battle Azmodan's army at Bastion's Keep and eventually defeat him and trap his soul within the Soul Stone along with the soul of Belial's. Once they return back to Chaldeum, they realize that Leia's mother reveals herself as an agent of Diablo's, and that Leia is Diablo's daughter. And Leia's mother has plotted Leia's whole life to use her to resurrect Diablo. And Leia's mother steals the Black Soul Stone, sacrifices Leia in an attempt to resurrect Diablo. And she's successful. And in doing so, Diablo manifests himself inside of Leia's body, containing all three of the primeval souls, as well as Belial's and Asmodan's. And doing so creates the most powerful primeval in existence. With Diablo's new power, he begins his assault on the high heavens, where the angels are no match for him. Diablo creates hell rifts inside of the high heavens, and it's utter chaos. Diablo's sole goal to reach the Crystal Ark, which is the source of the angels' power. But he is met by the heroes and Tyrael, who see his inevitable defeat. Now, with Diablo destroyed, Tyrael decides to rejoin the high heavens as the new angel of wisdom, and dedicating his life in the high heavens to building an alliance between the angels and demons, and humans. And Tyrael recovers the Black Soul Stone from Diablo's dead corpse, and it holds all the seven evils as well inside of the Black Soul Stone. And with the Black Soul Stone, Tyrael attempts to seal it away inside the tomb of Rakkus, who is the first king of Westmarch. And at this time, Tyrael is ambushed by Malthael, the archangel, who was the former archangel of wisdom, but now pronounces himself the angel of death. He incapacitates Tyrael and steals the Black Soul Stone from him. And Tyrael and all of the Haradrim that were in the tomb when they were ambushed are all killed except for one Haradrim. And this Haradrim is named Lorath. And Tyrael sends Lorath to locate the Nephilim heroes outside of Westmarch City. And when Lorath arrives, the city is overrun by Reapers from Malthael's army. The heroes finally reach Tyrael, to which he reveals that Diablo is gone and that Malthael plans to wipe out humanity and end the internal conflict for good. And after learning of Malthael's location, Tyrael takes the heroes back to the high heavens, where they find the Pandemonium Gate is under attack by Malthael's Reapers. The heroes fight against Malthael until he shatters the Black Soul Stone in fear of his defeat, and releases all the seven evils within himself. With Malthael defeated, the souls of the seven evils are able to spread free and disperse. That brings us to Diablo 4. And so far, Diablo 4, we know that Inarius and Lilith are back. And that's all we know so far. So we'll see what happens next tomorrow. Pretty excited for it to come out. So thanks for cringing with me as I go through my terrible notes. Hopefully the visuals were okay. Yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow, probably 6 p.m. Pacific time. We'll see you there. Thanks for watching.